Euromaxx highlights coming up on the show. On display, the fascinating world of artist Tobias Rehberger. On film, photographer Volker Herre and his camera obscura. On high, take to the skies with a swift, light glider. Euromaxx highlights, and here's your host, Robin Merrill.
And a very warm welcome to the show from our studios here in Berlin. Hello. The Rhine Music Festival is one of the most beautiful of its kind here in Germany. I say this because of the great venues where the festival takes place. The Rheingau region is rich in romantic castles surrounded by rolling hills and vineyards. So, whether it's outdoors or inside historic buildings, a glass of fine wine from the local vintner accompanied by top-class music is hard to beat.
Historical settings like Johannisberg Castle, in addition to people who know how to enjoy life, and top musicians like German pianist Christian Zacharias. That's this year's Rheingau Music Festival. Christian Zacharias plays pieces by Claude Debussy and Domenico Scarlatti.
It's a program that's close to my heart because it contrasts the 12 preludes with Scarlatti's 12 sonatas. The refined French writing style and the Italian, who also adds Spanish elements. There are parallels there.
In Cannes, Zacharias received the 2007 Midem Classical Award for Best Artist. The 58-year-old plays more than 100 concerts a year worldwide. But he always returns to the Rheingau.
I can remember long ago with my parents, I came here to try the wine very often. There were all kinds of different bottle tops, gold and red, and I don't know what. It was phenomenal, something you never forget.
Johannisberg Castle is home to a 900-year-old wine tradition. The Riesling is among the best in the world and is as central to this festival as the music itself.
The wine is lovely and the castle is really marvelous.
These summer concerts are a really special experience. We've been coming for 7 or 8 years.
Rheingau has a fantastic atmosphere. Excellent music and a historic environment.
Just a few kilometers away is Eberbach Cloister. The Geneva Chamber Orchestra is rehearsing in the Basilica under the leadership of young German conductor Patrick Lange. This year's Rheingau Festival features some 150 concerts over a 9-week period. It all started 20 years ago with just 5 concerts. The festival was founded in 1988 by Michael Hermann. A bookkeeper by trade, Hermann has been a fan of classical music since his youth.
In 1964, 65 and 66 I went to the Pablo Casals Festival in Prades in the south of France. The greatest artists in the world were there making music and entrance was free. That's when I had the idea of starting a festival in this spectacular region with its architecturally stunning buildings, Eberbach Cloister, Johannisberg and Vollrads castles, and the Wiesbaden Spa Hotel.
The next festival location is a 20-minute drive away. The Wiesbaden Spa Hotel is over a century old. German Emperor Wilhelm II had the landmark built in 1907 in classical style. Markus Reinhardt and his band are playing a gig here today. Reinhardt is the great-nephew of guitarist and European jazz pioneer Django Reinhardt.
I think that's what we want to communicate to people. Culture, language, and a bit of background about everything that's gone on here.
Von dem, was so alles passiert ist.
Spectacular musical highlights against picturesque backdrops. The annual Rheingau Music Festival.
Moving to Cologne now, where there's an extensive retrospective of the works of German artist Tobias Rehberger. It's difficult to categorize exactly what he does, as he paints, makes sculptures, video installations, designs whole rooms. Indeed, all artistic genres are open to him. However, through all his work, there's often a kind of seam of 60s and 70s retro to be found. See what you think.
Wherever Tobias Rehberger's works are shown, in galleries, museums, or art fairs, they bring a splash of color. At first sight, they appear highly decorative, with careful attention to form. But Rehberger doesn't see himself as a designer. The defining feature of his artistic career is questioning the rules of modern design. His Velcro lamps have price tags of up to 15,000 euros and are a hit with private collectors. But for the artist, these works are just sketches.
They have something unplanned about them. You can start out, and since the main structure is there, you can always change it around a bit. And then suddenly, you have something completely new.
That's Rehberger's artistic mission, to question the set forms of modern design. For this artwork, the artist asked his friends to imagine the perfect living room and then took inspiration from their ideas. The proviso: the room's furnishings must follow the latest trends. The result? 3 benches that could be out of the 1950s, that it would be difficult to imagine feeling at home with. The artist as design critic. As such, Rehberger receives invitations to furniture fairs like Frankfurt's Design Annual, which took place in July. Here, the world's top furniture designers present their expensive wares. Tobias Rehberger took the opportunity to present a colorful fairground installation made of the cheapest materials available.
It's all about misunderstandings, and out of these misunderstandings, it's possible here, under the umbrella of design and good taste, to build something that brings it all into question. Where does good form start, and where does it end? Does it even exist? That's what's at stake here.
Rehberger has been busy creating sculpture and installation artworks for over 15 years. He's much in demand and exhibits worldwide. In his Frankfurt studio, the artist is currently working on his Velcro lamps and multicolored plexiglass mosaics. The 42-year-old artist is helped in his work by students at Frankfurt's renowned Städel Art School, where he also studied and now teaches.
It's just really a lot of fun to work with young people. And they give me a lot back. It helps to keep me relatively up to date, working with a bunch of 20-year-olds.
At Rehberger's retrospective show in Cologne, you can see the results of 15 years of work. It's a grand collection of luminous colors and lights that some visitors will find hard to recognize as art. And while the public attempts to interpret his past works, Rehberger is busy developing new projects.
A camera obscura was the precursor of what eventually became the camera. The idea is over 1,000 years old. Basically, you take a closed box with a hole in the middle which lets in natural light, and the light projects an upside-down image of what is outside onto the back wall of the box. Now, when photographic paper came along in the 19th century, you could copy this image, and hey presto, we had the camera. But German photographer Volker Herre still likes to use the old camera obscura for his work.
German photographer Volker Herre strolls along the beach waiting for inspiration. His photographs don't require studio equipment and flashbulbs. He prefers to keep things simple. This is his favorite motif, the island of Rügen on the Baltic Sea. Herre doesn't just use any camera, he works with a camera obscura. The diameter of the camera's opening is larger than on standard modern cameras, which means more light can enter it, producing softer lines and gentler contrasts in his final image.
The main theme in my nature studies is coming and going, the eternal cycle of birth and death. And when I work with the camera obscura, I focus on a natural phenomenon, something from nature itself. That's what inspires my pictures. And the way I take the pictures, which are shot over a certain period of time, embodies this coming and going.
In his black and white photographs, the sea becomes as smooth as glass. The beach becomes a fairy tale-like backdrop. Each photo is planned in detail before he starts to create the image. Each motif is only photographed once. Herre carefully monitors the exposure time for each image with an exposure meter. Depending on the time of day and the light, it can take anything from a couple of minutes to an entire hour to capture the required shot. The extensive exposure time blurs and blends the movement in the picture.
Transformations take place in these pictures. A tree or a rock or the ground will be presented as we see them with our eyes, and everything that flows, everything that changes, everything that is in movement, that is dynamic, and is not shown here in one instant. Through the time process, it is presented through a merging of many, many moments.
Herre has built a walk-in camera obscura in Gingst, a small village in northwestern Rügen. In the 19th century, these kinds of houses were a popular way for people to observe natural settings. There's a hole in the wall. The diameter can be altered anywhere between a fraction of a millimeter to a centimeter. The smaller the hole is, the sharper the image on the rear wall will be.
If foregoing technology meant the photo wouldn't be convincing and powerful, then I wouldn't do it. It would just be playing. But for me, when I work with this type of camera, I reach a depth, and I reach a power, which with other tools isn't possible.
Herre enjoys showing people around his camera obscura. Were you surprised?
Not surprised, but you forget a lot. From my school days I should have remembered it, but I didn't know about it anymore. Now I know.
Herre is one of the few German photographers who works with the camera obscura. And he's been doing it for 10 years. His images can be seen in books and calendars and have been presented in a number of exhibitions across the country. Aside from the sea, Herre photographs the forest and trees.
You stand across from a tree and feel humble. There is a dialogue in which a relationship, a friendship develops. I approach the trees with love and not with an axe and a desire to chop them down. There are wonderful nature experiences which can be sensed in my pictures.
The camera obscura allows Herre to retain that closeness with no interference from modern devices. For him, it's the most natural way to create photographs.
Now, up into the skies in a swift light. It's a kind of glider with a large wingspan and a small pod-like cockpit in the middle. You mount it on your shoulders, run down the hill, and with the help of basic aerodynamics, you're way up in the skies. We met up with a man who stayed up in a swift light longer than anyone else, Manfred Römer. 2 years ago in Texas, he flew an incredible 777 kilometers.
A summer day with plenty of sun and wind. Ideal conditions for hang gliding. Here at Monte Cucco in central Italy, the sport is extremely popular. And the star here is definitely the Swift Light. Hang gliding world champion Manfred Rumer says there's no greater thrill than flying a Swift Light.
You're full of adrenaline, whether you're doing acrobatics or flying near the ground. And just before landing or takeoff, that's when you're more nervous. But when you're gliding through the air, it's not exactly boring, but let's say pleasantly relaxed.
It takes Manfred Rumer half an hour to assemble his Swift Light. It has a wingspan of almost 13 meters. Its carbon fiber wings lend it the appearance of a full-size glider, but at just 60 kilograms, it's still light enough to be classed a hang glider.
The Swift Light is the most high-performance glider you can launch on foot. It's made of plastic. You don't steer it using your weight like with other hang gliders. You steer it aerodynamically using the rudder.
The Swift Light has braking and landing flaps, just like a big aeroplane. Rumer controls them by cable. Unlike in conventional hang gliders, the pilot of the Swift Light wears a seatbelt. The closed cockpit offers additional protection from the wind and cold. One person can carry a Swift Light. At takeoff, you have to get the balance right. A sudden gust of wind could spoil a launch. Would-be hang gliders must obtain a license before taking to the air. Thereafter, the sky's the limit. Manfred Rumer often stays up in the air for hours at a stretch. The Swift Light can glide for several hundred kilometers.
It's beautiful, amazing. Yes, I like it.
Very beautiful, yes, and interesting. But it looks to me it's a very dangerous sport.
Flying a Swift Light is not as risky as it looks. The rudder and hatches make it safer in the air than other hang gliders. But it doesn't come cheap. The Rolls-Royce of hang gliders costs some 25,000 euros.
It's a very light aircraft. In fact, it weighs less than I do. You're one with the machine. It's so easy to steer and fly. You've just got to try it.
Manfred Rumer is not the only fan. Almost 200 hang gliders around the world swear by the Swift Light.
The World Fair, or Expo, is the third largest event in the world after the Olympics and the Football World Cup. This year it's being held in the northeastern Spanish city of Zaragoza until the middle of September. The theme this time is, not surprisingly I suppose, an environmental one: water and sustainable development.
This year's Expo is all about water. In just a few hours, you can take a whistle-stop world tour on foot. Germany's pavilion offers visitors the opportunity to take a 120-meter-long trip on a raft and learn all about water management, the science of purifying wastewater.
There has to be a mix of fun and information. I think it works very well here. There are two parts: the ride on a raft and the landscape with exhibits where you can see the technology from Germany.
The €6 million German pavilion was created by the design agency Totem. One exhibit has shower heads delivering quotes from German poets. The pavilion of host nation Spain is designed by architect Pachi Mangano. It's a forest of 750 clay-clad columns which create a special microclimate immune to the hot weather outside. It's designed to be a sensual experience. Expo 2008's theme is the urgent need to conserve the world's overstretched water resources. In addition to the pavilions, there are some 5,000 events programmed for the 3 months that it's open. They also deal with the theme of water and sustainable development. One of these is a daily performance by the world-famous Cirque du Soleil.
We've tried to stay close to the message of the Expo and give people something to think about. The show has a central part to play in the Expo. The main elements of the show all involve water.
As well as cultural events, there is plenty of outstanding architecture on offer. British-Iraqi architect Zaha Hadid designed the spectacular Bridge Pavilion, both main entrance to the Expo and exhibition space. Contrasting with the beauty of the building is the exhibition inside, about how mankind is destroying the Earth. Another magnet for visitors is the fascinating pavilion constructed for the Spanish region of Aragon, of which Zaragoza is the capital.
The form of the building reflects Aragon's tradition of basket weaving. This building truly breaks new ground, and the architects developed new techniques in its construction. Nothing resembling this kind of structure was ever attempted before.
In the evening, Aragon's local produce enjoys the breeze on the roof. The Expo's tallest building is the water tower. There's a good view from the top. Inside is a huge sculpture representing a water droplet. Expo 2008 offers visitors a unique opportunity to experience nature up close.
And those were our highlights of the week on Euromaxx. I hope you enjoyed them. And until next time, bye-bye.